Hello everybody, welcome back to the Praetorian. I'm Roger Hanson, and today I am going to continue with my videos on historical events and people. Today my topic is going to be about Sarah Margaret Fuller. Now, Sarah Margaret Fuller was born on May the 23rd, 1810, and she lived 1810-05-23. I don't understand what the 1810-05-23 means, but that's what I got on my notes. Now, I took these notes on May 6, 2009, and I had them on my Facebook account. And this has to do with Sarah Margaret Fuller, who was a transcendentalist. If you haven't read anything about the transcendentalists of the 1800s, I do suggest that you check it out. It's a pretty interesting movement that was taking place back then. So with that said, let me get on with it. Sarah Margaret Fuller was born May the 23rd, 1810 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She died July the 19th, 1850 at the age of 40 off Fire Island, New York. Her occupation was a journalist, critic, activist, and her nationality was American. She was from the United States. She was involved with the literary movement for transcendentalism, and she was influenced by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Sarah Margaret Fuller Asali, May the 23rd, 1810 to July the 19th, 1850, was a journalist, critic, and women's rights activist. Early activity. Margaret Fuller was born May the 23rd, 1810 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Margaret Fuller House in which she was born is still standing today. Her father, Timothy Fuller, a lawyer and prominent politician, gave her a vigorous classical education which shaped and bent of her mind, but according to Fuller's own testimony, also sensitized her to the personal expense of her society's mass-colonized values. In 1836, she taught at the Temple School in Boston, and from 1837 to 1839, taught in Providence, Rhode Island. Fuller became friends with Ralph Waldo Emerson and became one of the leaders of the movements known as Transcendentalism. In 1839, she began organizing discussions among local women in the parlor in the homes of the Peabodys in Boston. Held every Saturday at noon, Fuller intended these meetings to compensate for the lack of education for women and discuss and debate focused on a variety of subjects such as mythology, art, education, and women's rights. A number of significant figures in the women's rights movement attended these conversations. Ideas brought up in these conversations were developed in Fuller's major works, The Great Lawsuit, and Women in the 19th Century, in 1845, which argue for the independence of women and the necessity of changing the unequal gender relationships of 19th century society. Fuller edited the Transcendentalist Journal, The Dial, for the first 2 years of its existence from 1840 to 1842. publishing some of her most experimental essays. Fuller was able to feminize Ralph Waldo Emerson's paradigm of self-reliance, founded upon the intuition of a divine energy within, by arguing that men and women contain powerful female energies as well. Emerson had argued for the intuition of God within. When Fuller moved to New York and joined Horace Greeley's New York Tribune as literary critic in 1844, she became the first full-time book reviewer in journalism, and by 1846 was the publication's first female editor. And in her front page columns signed with A. Fuller, discussion a wide range of topics ranging from art and literature to the reform of society. Fuller was viewed as especially vain among the circle of transcendentalists. She once said that she never met her intellectual equal, and when she announced, "I accept the universe," Thomas Carlyle retorted, "By gad, she'd better." Also, due to her feminist beliefs, she was the source of many jokes. She used to recite a passage saying, "If you ask me what offices women may fill, I reply, any. I do not care what case you put. Let them be sea captains, if you will." Horace Greeley used to yell, "Let them be sea captains if they will," whenever she waited for him to open the door for her. Assignment in Europe. Memorial markers for Margaret Fuller and family located at Mount Auburn Cemetery in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Fuller was sent to Europe in 1846 by the New York Tribune, specifically England and Italy, in its first female foreign correspondence. There she interviewed many prominent writers, including George Sand and Thomas Carlyle, whom she found disappointing due to his reactionary politics, among other things. Fuller's first-hand accounts of England, France, and Italy provided powerful analysis of societies poised on the brink of revolution, which broke out in France and Italy in 1848. In Italy, she met the Italian revolutionary Giovanni Ossoli, who had been disinherited by his family. Fuller and Ossoli had a child together named Angelo, and the couple moved in together in Florence, Italy, likely before they were married. They may have gotten married in 1847. The couple supported Giuseppe Mazzini's revolution for the establishment of a Roman Republic in 1849. He fought in the struggle while Fuller volunteered to run a supporting hospital. During this period, Florence Nightingale visited Fuller and Rome to pick up lessons on hospital management. Fuller, Ossoli, and their child were completing a 5-week return voyage to the United States aboard the ship Elizabeth when, on July 18, 1850, around 3:30 a.m., the ship slammed into a sandbar about 100 yards away from Fire Island, New York. The family did not survive. Henry David Thoreau traveled to New York at the urging of Emerson to search the shore, but neither Fuller's body nor that of her husband were ever recovered. Only the child, Angelino, was washed ashore. Among the articles lost was Fuller's manuscript on the history of the Roman Republic. Many of her writings were collected together by her brother Arthur, as at home and abroad in 1856, and Life Without the Life Within in 1858. Those are when the books were written. Her memorial is in Mount Auburn Cemetery, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Fuller was the great aunt of Buckminster Fuller. Beliefs. Further information might be found on the talk. Wait, hold up, that's not good. Fuller was an early proponent of feminism, and especially believed in providing education to women. Legacy. Margaret Fuller and signature. Oh wait, hold up. Legacy. Margaret Fuller was likely the inspiration for the character Hester Prynne in Nathaniel Hawthorne's novel The Scarlet Letter. Especially her radical thinking about the whole race of womanhood. She may also be the basis for the character Zenobia in one of Hawthorne's other works, the Belithdale Romance. She was also an inspiration to poet Walt Whitman, who believed in her call for the forging of a new national identity and a true American literature. Fuller, however, was not without her critics. The influential editor Rufus Wilmot Griswold, who believed she was against his notion of feminine modesty, referred to women in the 19th century as an eloquent expression of her discontent at having been created female. That brings me to the end of that note and that reading. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up, make comments, and give feedback. Feedback is welcome and appreciated, and it also helps us if you do comment on the video. So if you like this video, like I said, thanks for watching, and make comments and stuff like that, and have a good day.